Thank you very much for remaining with us. You're welcome into the last hour of the show. Now, we looked at some of the losers. We looked at Umeme coming out on the bottom. We looked at also NMG, who also came out at the bottom, but not much traded volumes there. Now, let's look at Centum Investments Company. Centum Investment came in also as a loser. That is depending on the trades we had yesterday. Centum came in as a loser, but also didn't have any traded volumes as well. And as you can see on that graph, Centum lost from by about 0.3 Ugandan shillings, and that was a 0.09% loss, down to 322.25 Ugandan shillings. Centum Investment is listed on the Uganda Securities Exchange since February 10th, 2011, and is traded under the ticker symbol CENT. As you can see there, it's cross-listed from Nairobi. It's an investment company dealing in the investment sector, investing in several ventures there in business. And the international securities identification number for Centum Investments is KE00000265. Centum Investment currently stands in the 12th position in terms of the most valuable stocks. And when you multiply that price there of 322.25 times the shares outstanding, you come up with 214 billion Ugandan shillings, which is about 0.995% of the total Uganda Securities Exchange equity market. Now, as you can see on the graph, Centum has also had its fair share of losses, looking from the year 2021 with prices above 500. Centum also crossed the line of 500 down into the 400s in November 2021. And you can see there in November 2021, we were still witnessing a decline that was not about to stop. And then in January 2022, we entered the year still in the 400s. However, we dipped down into the 300s earlier on in the month of April, between the month of May and at the beginning of the month of April. Between that time, the company stock prices went below 400 and stabilized a little bit, and then still went further down to over 300 Ugandan shillings. And yesterday, we are seeing a daily loss of 0.3 Ugandan shillings, down to 322.25 on Centum. Now, Centum Investments, we are seeing that since the year began, we began with a price of over 4,444.82 Ugandan shillings. That was the beginning price of the year 2022. But comparing it with the current price of 322.25, Centum has lost a value of 27.6% of its price valuation, and it's ranked the 15th on the Uganda Securities Exchange in terms of year-to-date performance. Centum, however, is the 8th most traded stock on the Uganda Securities Exchange over the past 3 months. And that is accounting for the month of April, from the month of April 20th to July 27th, the year 2022. Centum has traded a total volume of 100,200 shares within this period, and these shares have been valued at 29.1 million shares over the period. Talking about market activity, Centum Investment, I think, is one of the leading cross listings that has, the leading, it's the leading cross listed, one of the leading cross listings that at least show some activity on the market. And we see this in these volumes, that at least we are seeing volumes of as high as 100,200 shares that are worth over 29.1 million Ugandan shillings that have been traded in the past 3 months. Now, on average, the period between 20th of April to 27th of July 2022, this is the 3-month period we are looking at, has seen a total of over 1,590 traded shares per session and a volume high of 100,000 shares. And of course, this was achieved on July 19th of the same period. And the table, of course, when you look there, we see about 100,000 shares traded on the 19th of July 2022, and 200 shares traded on the 20th of June 2022, and then about 211 shares there traded on the 3rd of March. And a couple of at least tradings that we have seen at least on this particular counter cross-listed from Nairobi. Regarding the founding of this company, the company Centum was co-founded in 1967 on the 31st of March, and it operates under the financials sector, specifically the investment services industry. And the Centum company, investment company, contracts an estimated total of over 1,082 employees. The company is led by Mr. James Mwirigi Moria, who is a 44-year-old gentleman and is the Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director since 2008. The company's board of directors is headed by Dr. Donald Kaberuka, who is a 70-year-old, and is composed of 10 board members, of course, that can be found on the company's engagements there on the website. And definitely this company, Centum Investment, has competitors on the market who are dealing in the financial services sector. And you can always compare people dealing within the same sector as well, because you can invest based on sector, you can invest based on accounting for maybe the performance of that company. But Centum has 7 competitors on the stock market in terms of dealing in the same sector. These deal in the financial services sector. These include DFCU Bank Limited, who is at a 5.17% year-to-date loss. Remember, Centum is at a year-to-date loss of 27.6%. But looking at the other market participants here that are competing with Centum Investment, you have KCB Group as well, with a year-to-date loss of only 11%. And then we have Equity Bank Limited with a year-to-date of 8%. And then Jubilee Holdings Limited with a year-to-date loss of 18.6%. The only gainer on year-to-date performance is National Insurance Company in the docket of financial services as well. That is Centum Investment for you. And now we move to the gainers here very quickly. The gainers were led by Mr. East African Breweries Limited. And if you monitor this stock, you can see East African Breweries Limited gained by 93.06 Ugandan shillings, and that was a 2.04% gain in stock prices there. At closing prices of about 4,644.17 Ugandan shillings. And you can just see that graph over there from the month of September 2021, looking at how these prices have varied over those several months. You can see from 6,000 down to 5,000, down to 4,000, and currently at 4,600. That is the closing price on the 27th of July. East African Breweries notably is one of the leading, if not the leading brewery in East Africa, with several shares in all the other breweries like Kibo Breweries in Tanzania, holding 86% stock there, and 93% of Uganda breweries. It trades under the ticker symbol, as you can see, EABL, and you can see that it has been listed on the exchange for quite some time as well, since the year 2001. And on the market here in Uganda, it's currently the fourth most valuable stock, with a total of 3.67 trillion Ugandan shillings worth of market capitalization, which is about 17% of the total equity of the Uganda Securities Exchange, based on the main board performance there. That is East African breweries. Moving on very fast to the second top gainer here, it's Equity Bank, who came in the second position of gaining. And when you move to the stock of equity, Equity Bank, first of all, is a Kenyan financial institution that offers financial services through its point of sales terminals, and of course over 90 branch network, which is including about 350 Visa branded automated teller machines, and cashback services in all the leading supermarkets, as well as internet and mobile banking. The bank commenced in 1984 following its registration, and has since evolved from a building society to the largest bank in East African region, and in terms of customer base. Equity Bank is home to over 48% of all the bank accounts in Kenya, comprising of 2.8 million accounts. And of course, Equity Bank Limited there. Equity Bank trades under the ticker symbol. And of course, I'll ask my producer to put for me the graph for Equity Bank Limited, so you can have a look at how these particular stocks have been able to perform for Equity Bank. But Equity Bank Limited has been able to trade on the exchange since 2009. That is from the 18th of June 2009 down to this date. And as you can see there on the graph, it trades under the ticker symbol EBL. That is Equity Bank Limited, with a closing price of 1,465.38. It witnessed a growth in price at 21.35 Ugandan shillings. That's a 1.48% growth there. As you can see, the graph is quite volatile. As you can see, the market is quite volatile, and you can see the graph going up and down there. But between the month of September 2021 and November, we see that prices were at averages of 1,600, and then later on we see that actually these prices moved further down in the year 2022, and even in December 2021 the prices were quite low. But moving on to the year 2022, in the month of April, the prices went back to 1,600, but then later on also came back down drastically, down to over 1,400 Ugandan shillings. And that is where we are seeing it right now, gaining at 1,465.38 Ugandan shillings. Now, in terms of trading volumes, in terms of, first of all, currently, when you look at the value of this stock, it stands at 5.43 trillion Ugandan shillings and is the number one most valuable stock on the Uganda Securities Exchange by market capitalization. And this represents about 25%, 25.2% of the total Uganda Securities Exchange equity market. Now, if you can, and if you really understand how far we've come, when we talk about value, we are not really talking about trading or volumes that are traded on the counter. We are really talking about the amount of the value, the monetary value of the shares that are listed. Now, Equity Bank comes in place number one in terms of the highest market capitalization, meaning when you multiply that current price of 1,465.38 Ugandan shillings times the shares outstanding for this counter, which are 3.7 billion shares, you come up with a 5.43 trillion figure. And this figure represents about 25%, almost more than a quarter of the total market capitalization on the Uganda Securities Exchange. Since equity deals in the financial services sector as well, it is also still one of course, the other 7 competitors in the financial sectors segment. And these competitors include KCB Group, Bank of Baroda, Uganda, Stanbic Bank, DFCU Bank, Centum Investment, and Jubilee Holdings Limited. And that, of course, is the Equity Bank Limited stock. A humble reminder, Altex East Africa are, of course, in conjunction with Altex Clearing, giving you a chance to invest in securities across East Africa. My money, my future. Of course, the initiative is Zabu, and they're saying do something new by simply dialing *292#, and of course choosing option to buy or sell, and choosing the products there, and especially the bonds currently that are listed. You can choose the times that you want your bond to be within, and then you can also see of course the amount you would want to invest in, and inputting your PIN number will of course automatically get access to your Momo Pay, and the notification in no time will be received on your smartphone or on your small phone, and a hassle-free transaction will have been carried out. You'll be able to purchase all these securities across East Africa at the convenience of your smartphone or your small-sized phone that you can access right now without the internet. And this is, of course, Altex East Africa that is powering this initiative that has been not very old, of course, just launched recently about a month or so ago. And of course, people are now enjoying the privilege of be able to trade on securities across East Africa conveniently with their phones. Also, Uganda Securities Exchange partners here are giving you a chance to also trade on the stock market. Open an SCD account by simply dialing *165#. Now, when you dial *165#, still using MTN mobile money, you can be able to access the Central Securities Central Depository account, and you will be able to open yourself an account. Remember, you cannot trade on the stock market without an account, and that account is known as the SCD account, Securities Central Depository account. And this account, once opened, it is free of charge. There are no bank charges, there are no monthly fees. It's an absolutely free account. You would want at least to have one. And after you've opened it, you can get some money and load some money onto your account, and that money can be used to purchase stock or purchasing shares on the market. But remember, you cannot purchase on the Uganda Securities Exchange without having access to a stock broker. So we have 4 stock brokers in Uganda currently licensed by the Capital Markets Authority. We have SBG Securities, we have UAP Old Mutual, we have Crested Capital, and Dyer and Blair Investment stockbrokers. So all these will be able to help you trade on these markets. As we do the previews here of the market, we do the research on the market. We don't do complete research. The stockbrokers do the other underground work for you, and so you may need still extra help. The information we give here regarding these companies is based on what's happening on a daily, what has happened in the past 10 months, but we have little say on what can happen tomorrow. And that's why you need a stockbroker to be able to intermediate between you and the exchange, to be able to purchase shares on your behalf, to be able to trade on your behalf, because the stockbroker is literally an intermediate who is approached by both sellers and buyers. So he knows exactly who needs what. If you want to sell at any particular time, you approach him, he has a buyer. You approach them and you want to buy, they have a seller. Remember, shares are bought once and for all at the IPO. So you don't have the primary market lasting long. You can no longer go and buy new shares from MTN. The already listed shares are the shares that we keep exchanging. That's why it's called an exchange, because I buy shares for the first time, I give them to someone else trades to another person. You keep on exchanging, but now not between you and the company, but you're exchanging onto the secondary market as individuals or as institutions that are trading within, of course, the secondary market segment. But of course, that's a little brief about the SCD account. Make sure you open one and get started to enjoy some of the privileges of being an owner, a part owner of such big companies like Equity Bank, like East African Breweries, and the like. We're going to take another very quick break, and when we return, we wind up the Ugandan market, move across East Africa to see how other markets are faring around East Africa. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere.